Week 13 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few prospects I look to watch and possibly stash this week. The first prospect, Christian Scott of the New York Mets. So Scott, we've seen him in the major leagues this season, and now the Mets, they're going to most likely go back to a six-man rotation or go with the youngsters, Jose Butto and Christian Scott, if they trade some of their veteran starting pitchers near the MLB trade deadline. So Scott available right now, still in tons of fantasy leagues at 85%, number 54 prospect in Major League Baseball, and number 3 prospect overall in the New York Mets system. So this season in the majors, he had an 0-2 record, 3.90 ERA, 5 games started, 27 and 2/3, 25 strikeout, and a 1.08 whip. So Christian Scott, he definitely has top of the rotation type of stuff. He's not scared to challenge hitters. He's got that high 96, 97 mile per hour fastball, good breaking ball stuff, and he's just around the strike zone, which was a little bit of a problem. But the reason the Mets sent him back down to the minor leagues to limit his innings, and he's a guy only going about 4 or 5 innings at most right now. But we'll be back with the big club, especially this New York Met team. Scott gives them a good chance of winning ball games where they need some help in the rotation. Like I said, starters aren't going that deep into ball games. David Peterson, Tyler McGill, and Manayan, Jose Quintana possibly could be trade candidates as well. So also in AAA this season for Scott, 3-0 record, 2.76 ERA, 9 games started, only 42 1/3, where they're trying to limit the innings, 55 Ks, and an 0.97 whip. So like I said, Christian Scott's done it all in the AAA, AA level, and it's time for him to come back to the big leagues. And with the Mets trying to compete for a wild card spot, it makes sense he'll be up sooner than later. And would it be surprising to me if Scott's up within the next few days or next week for this New York Met team? So right now, definitely a prospect to keep in mind, and definitely a prospect that fantasy owners should go out there and get if they need help in deeper leagues. Next pitcher is David Festa of the Minnesota Twins. Could pitch today for the Minnesota Twins at the Arizona Diamondbacks, with Chris Paddock going on the injured list and the Twins needing a starter. So right now available 98% of fantasy leagues is Festa. 99 prospect overall in Major League Baseball, but the number 5 prospect overall in this Minnesota Twin roster. So David Festa, like I said last few weeks ago in the video, he's been moving up quickly, him and Matthews, in this Minnesota Twin system. And if Bailey Ober was going to struggle, which he's pitched better over the last 2 games, or if there was going to be an injury in the rotation, Festa possibly would have been the next man up. He's going to be the starter of baseball games. So on the season for Festa, 3-2 record, 3.77 ERA, 14 games started, 59 and 2/3, a great strikeout rate with 87 Ks in the 59 and 2/3, and a 1.29 whip. So the only problem with Festa, the control's definitely been an issue with the whip at a 1.29 out the season. But like I said, a lot of swings and misses. He's got good stuff. And in this AL Central, there's not many good hitting teams. Obviously, the White Sox, worst team in Major League Baseball. Kansas City Royals, their offense has been up and down all season. The Tigers as well. And I think Festa could come up and he could pitch good baseball for this Minnesota Twin team. And he was estimated to be in the major leagues this season as well. Starting here today at the Diamondback. Festa definitely someone to keep on the radar. And like I said, it's his time now to come up and pitch well for this Minnesota Twin team with a spot in the rotation. And he's out there in 98% of fantasy leagues. Next pitcher is Emerson Hancock of the Seattle Mariners. Hancock, he's been the odd man out when this Mariner rotation has been healthy. But once again, Brian Wu, who's having a great season with an ERA under 2 this year, on the injured list with a hamstring injury. And Emerson Hancock, I know he had a back injury in his last outing in the minor leagues, but most likely he's going to get called up. Top pitching prospect last season in the farm system season. He's had some stints in the major leagues. 8 games started, 3-3 record, 4.79 ERA, 41 1/3, 24 strikeouts, and a 1.28 whip. So Hancock most likely could come up Saturday, take the spot of Brian Wu, who went out with injury, as long as his back's ready to go after he left the start in his latest outing. And then in the minor leagues this season, his stats have been great. 6 games started, 2-1 record, 1.91 ERA, 33 innings, 29 Ks, a 1.03 whip. So Hancock's strikeouts have definitely been down over the last couple seasons in the minor leagues. But like I said, he's got good stuff as Hancock. He knows how to attack the zone. And we've seen over the last few seasons, this Mariner organization, they know how to get pitching prospects to the major league level and be successful. George Kirby's been solid over the last couple seasons. Bryce Miller, he's been pretty decent from last year, and this year we've seen him in the majors. And Brian Wu, in a small sample size, has been one of the better pitchers in the league in ERA. So I think Hancock, even though the ERA was pushing a 5 early in the season. If he knows he's going to get some more opportunities to stay in the major leagues, possibly, he's a pitcher that can help fantasy owners, and he's out there in 98% of fantasy leagues. Next pitcher is Carson Whisenhunt of the San Francisco Giants. A Hayden Birdsong got the call in yesterday's ball game for the San Francisco Giant team, but Whisenhunt, he's one of their top pitching prospects, and a lot of injuries in this rotation for this San Francisco Giant team. But I don't know why they just haven't called up the youngster. Right now, Whisenhunt available in 99% of fantasy leagues. Number 65 prospect in all Major League Baseball, and number 2 prospect in this Giant system. I know this year the numbers haven't been great, but I believe he would be a better option than some of the guys we've seen the Giants run out there. Mason Black, they've run out there at times this season. They just called him back up. Hayden Birdsong, he's going to get a few opportunities, no doubt about it. One of the better prospects in their system as well. But then going with a lot of bullpen games with Eric Miller, Spencer Howard, Randy Rodriguez has got opportunities. So I think this Giant team should just go to the traditional rotation and see what the 23-year-old has. I know, like I said, in the minors, the numbers haven't been good, but the upside is definitely there. 2-4 record, 5.29 ERA, 16 games started, 63 innings. A great strikeout rate as well for him, 84 strikeouts in the 63 innings. But control has been an issue with a 1.65 whip. So if he could get the walks under control like any young pitcher, and these guys just know how to attack the zone and get hitters out easy with flyouts and groundouts, obviously that's the only thing Whisenhunt has to work on. Because in his minor league career, a 3.69 ERA and 181 Ks. And like I said, this Giant team, they're patching together this rotation with 2 spots for the most part, with bullpen by committee days, which obviously taxes your whole team, and you got to make a lot of transaction to move pitchers. So I think Whisenhunt will be up sooner than later, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if he's up within the next few weeks. Even though the numbers haven't been great in the minor leagues, the upside is definitely there. And the 5th and final prospect I look to watch and possibly stash is Tink Hence of the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the top pitching prospects in Major League Baseball, 49 overall prospect, and number 1 prospect in the St. Louis Cardinal system. So this Cardinal team made a great turnaround over the last month of the season, where it looked like they're going to sell off a lot of pieces and they were finished at any chance of making a wild card. But with the National League being so bad and the Cardinals getting things going with guys like Sonny Gray turning the season around, Lance Lynn pitching well also, and Kyle Gibson, and then the hitting Alec Burleson coming out of nowhere, Mason Wynn, Goldschmidt was starting to get things going. All of a sudden, this Cardinal team's in the hunt, and a guy like Tink Hence can help at the back end of the rotation. Like I said, this is an older veteran rotation where it's just bound to happen. Either Gibson, Lance Lynn, or Sonny Gray going to have an IL stint. And Palante's their 5th starter, where he's not really a starter, where he's been a bullpen guy for the majority of his major league career. So with Palante, the numbers haven't been great. And Tink Hence, he's another guy. They've limited the innings down there in the minors. 54 2/3, 4-2 record, 3.29 ERA, 12 games started, 73 Ks. Another guy with a high strikeout rate and a 1.13 whip, which is pretty solid. So like I said, Hence, he's going to be up sooner than later. I know he's in Double-A for the St. Louis Cardinal team, but he's definitely someone that can help this team. And also, if you're a contending team and want to take a next step and go deeper in the playoffs, you need some of these younger guys with live arms, and that's exactly what Hence has. So with Hence, if the Cardinals don't go out there and make a deal at the deadline, or they just had enough of Palante as their 5th starter in the rotation, or they just don't want to wait for Steven Matz, I think Hence, he could be up sooner than later within the next few weeks to a month. And he's definitely a pitching prospect to keep in mind. Out there in 99% of leagues, but one of the better pitching prospects in all Major League Baseball. So that's a few prospects I look to watch and stash for Week 13 of the fantasy baseball season.